the internet for gaming news and everything still wasn't where it is now. Like you were still talking about like waiting to see the Game Informer, still waiting to see Game Pro magazine. What did they say about the game? You know, I think with 2006, was there even? There was Moby Games, but that wasn't reviews. That was more like they were trying to encyclopedia or try to get everybody in the industry to communicate on this website. But it wasn't like what a Gama Sutra is or a Kotaku at the time, because those are even different now.
Well, okay, so there's the internet and then gaming as a discipline has changed so dramatically. Like in the 30 years that I've been making games.
Dated.
What
year is it?
Holy cow! Yeah, it's changed a lot. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, like at Acclaim, their biggest expenditure sometimes was getting the word out and getting a license itself, right? So Acclaim would get like a license for something like WrestleMania. Or Spider-Man or Batman or something like that. They'd make a crappy game and put it out on the market. And your mom or your dad would buy this game because you like Batman or you like,
it's almost like the name sold it.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what, if it was good or bad, they made money hand over fist.
Well, who knew?
Back in the day.
Who knew whether or not it was good or bad? Where were you gonna go?
Yeah.
Like a lot of
the
times
money's been spent. no returns.
It's not just that, but there was no reporting mechanism.
Yeah.
The best you had, I think, was GamePro. They'd have those different things, but no one read those things. Mm-hmm. No one who had any buying power. It was your mom or your dad, right? Mm-hmm. And because it was your mom and your dad, they didn't know. All they knew was it like Batman.
Yeah.
Hit a new Batman, and so as opposed to now, where everybody know your game sucks before it ships. What's that about?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right?
All the leaks, all the E3 leaks, they're doing that even now.
Right?
Before next week.
Right. And so so the point is that so you have that, right? And then you have sort of the influence of academia, which I'm jealous of to this day. Because it goes back to the fact that I didn't want to go to school. Now I see like all these, DigiPen, USC, DeVry, have all these, have like bona fide curriculum for gaming, right? And so I look at some of this stuff and I go, this is the stuff I did. Like, and people are like, how did you know this and how did you know that? I said, no, we just messed up. We just messed up until, we said, yeah, let's not do this anymore. Let's not do that anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm jealous of students at this point. I'm jealous of students now because they get to make those mistakes in school using the same tools that we use professionally.
When repercussions are not the same as a $10, $20, $50 million budget.
Please believe that, right? And so for me, that was so those are the fundamental changes, and in addition to that, making games, online games, in particular. Or this move from making like a discrete product, like, yeah, I made this Batman game, throw it over your shoulder, get working on the next one. I worked on this, throw it over your shoulder, work on the next one. No, that's not no game that I feel that's top tier doesn't have some sort of live plan nowadays for continuing content, for keeping it fresh or whatever. Yeah,
especially with that new Stadia. I think
Stadia.
Stadia. What do you think about that, man?
Oh my God.
Did they not see on live crash and burn? And I was an on live patriot. I got that. I had the controller, and it was fun. But it just internet bandwidth wasn't where it needed to be for that to be successful in my eyes. But what are they doing, man?
Man,
what do you think about that?
Stadia.
And they pushing it hard, dude. I was on YouTube. Okay. I was on YouTube browsing. All I had was Stadia ads and like, you want to be a founder? Buy this, and you get the black controller, or you get that midnight blue or something.
What do I think of Stadia?
Yeah. You never know. All right, like you just said, we don't want to burn bridges. No, it's not about saying anything bad, but I just want to, as a gamer, what you think about the Stadia thing coming out?
Okay, so I knew about Stadia like a year and a half ago.
Oh man,
right?
Okay.
And I remember actually being at Game Tech, and we had this thing that was called Game Tech Cinema, and it was this way of streaming, content from a CD to your computer, so that you could see movies. And so I remember this diagram that we had that had a CD access speed, and then it had like the speed you would need to have full-blown video. And this is the time when you had like CD-ROMs that were like 2 times speed, 3 times speed, 4 times speed, right? And so that's what we're dealing with. And I remember that going, man, if these transfer rates get good, man, we could do some crazy stuff, right? Like then, you could have nice looking movies and all this other kind of stuff. So fast forward to now. We're looking at the transfer of data from anywhere to you
on any device.
Device.
Yeah.
So fast that you get 4K 5.1, audio. It is as close to a virus that is beneficial that I have ever seen.
But everybody doesn't have those speeds. I mean, when you look at like Comcast and Verizon and people who have FiOS and people who don't, like it's a huge difference. I had FiOS before, and they don't have FiOS where I'm at now. Dramatic difference on my upload. But
so how many Blu-rays did you have before you had your PlayStation?
I had none because I used my PlayStation as my Blu-ray player.
You see what I'm saying?
So, but it still seems a little different because I went on the Stadia site and I saw that on the low end, if you have 10 up, 10 down, they don't recommend you even using it for that. You will have a stereo sound output, and you will also have like I think it's like a 720p or 1080 at minimum. On the other spectrum is if you have 35 up or down.
Right.
You'll be able to experience that 4K or the 5.1 because they're not doing 7.1. It's 5.1. Yeah. But there's a huge gap in there. When I have FiOS, man, we're talking about 150 up, 150 down.
That's why I have
it's like amazing. But I'm not about to rip out the streets to get stuff put in to like get access to stuff.
Well, okay. All right. So let's put this in perspective. Okay. So you've got Stadia saying that, in order to get this 4K crazy thing, you need this sort of bandwidth. Okay, who do you know who has 4K TV and the ability to experience 5.1 who doesn't have hella pipe at their house? Okay, most people now are just fine with 1080p gaming, which is like I think it's like 15 or 20 or whatever, right? But I've played a 1080p experience on Stadia during the beta test that was less than that, and I was still getting that level of quality.
Performance. Okay. The feedback, like it seemed like when you were pressing the button, things were happening. There was no latency issues and all that.
No. And so I think that it's a crazy time to be both a game player and a game maker, because the consoles are almost indistinguishable from one another. They really, they from a graphic standpoint, from an input standpoint, and for to a large degree from a service standpoint, right? They're almost indistinguishable. So your challenge becomes, how do you make that different? How do you on a per console basis, and or where do you make your purchasing decision from? Right, and I've been in Best Buy a lot of times, saying, in some mom or some dad or something comes up and sees me looking at games and says they need to make a purchasing decision, like which one, would they go with? And I remember one time I was working at Sony, and I was in a Best Buy, and a lady asked me, like, what should I get? Should I get a PlayStation or should I get an Xbox? Right. And I said, so your kid, right? And I said, yeah. And I said, how important is Halo to your child? right?
That's a good indicator.
Yeah,
It was a bomb back then.
Because that's it. And if your kid could care less about Halo, get a PlayStation.
That's what made me buy an Xbox. I
See,
bought an Xbox just for Halo 1.
There's
That's
probably
the only reason.
well, but now there's a different reason, which is your ecosystem, right? Because it's like, say for example, you have a choice. I'm gonna go to this bomb ass club, okay, or I'm gonna go to this okay club. Now the difference is, where are your people at?
Does the OK Club have half off on drinks?
No, they do. But if the half off club, that's the OK Club.
Yeah.
If that's where I'm at, if that's where all your people are,
That's
it
where you're gonna
doesn't
be.
matter whether or not the bomb ass
Exactly.
club is,
Yeah.
because you're gonna be there by yourself, not doing anything, and so on and so forth.
Spending too much money.
Spending too much money,
Yeah.
trying to get some friends, and so on and so forth, right? And so, but if now the situation becomes, where are your people?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because games ideally bring us closer together, right? I remember this old EA commercial, and the thing that really got me is that they said, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that I'm better than you, and I can prove it, right? And so you want to be somewhere where people see you. You want to be someplace where you're lauded. You want to be someplace where you feel important, and that's usually where your people are, right? Okay, so now that's when you had to make a decision whether or not you're going to go from PlayStation to
The
Xbox.
two-party group.
Okay.
Xbox. Yep,
Okay.
that's
So
correct. That's
I'm
correct.
gonna ask you a question. Who do you know don't have YouTube?
Well, it's not don't have YouTube. Who doesn't have access to it? I think a lot of people have
no,
access to YouTube.
no.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's having it,
Yeah.
though, right?
Yeah.
Everybody got it,
Yeah.
right?
Not
Okay.
all the people are paying for the YouTube Red right now. though.
That's not the question, though.
Okay,
I said,
okay.
who don't have YouTube?
Everybody's got it. Everybody's got it.
Okay.
On every device you can think of.
Please believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, okay, it's not the OK Club. It's not the cool club over here or the pristine club. It's everybody's club, right? And so to be a game player and a game maker, you're going to want to go to the club where everyone can get in at some way, shape, or form, right? You creating sort of material that appeals to all of them so that they could give you their $2 or their $3 or whatever. That's what it's about. It's, like the PlayStation 4's got like 91 million in sales or whatever worldwide. But think about every device that has YouTube. That's the platform you want to be on.
So what do you think that's going to do? If this takes off and is successful, what do you think that's going to do to PlayStation, Xbox? Do you think they're going to have to band together?
They
and
already
just
are.
open up they are on certain titles.
Like
about
streaming.
I'm talking about fully. And I don't know what you can do with backwards compatibility.
Well,
but
see, I have this conversation with my friend who used to be at at Microsoft. His name's Leon. And Leon, I'm PlayStation because I worked at PlayStation, and he was Xbox because he worked at Microsoft, right? And I said, listen, I'm be honest with you, dog. You're not HBO. PlayStation is HBO, and you know it, right? Because you got one show. That Halo show is the bomb. I ain't gonna lie, but that's your only show. Look at these titles on PlayStation, right? And so that's why I asked that question. Like, how important is Halo to your child, right? So what's going to happen is all these companies, in my opinion, are going to be content companies. Okay? Gaming content. And so what it's going to force them to concentrate not on that kind of tech, but on their content. Okay. And that's why you saw, like last year, Microsoft just started cutting checks to every last developer they could get their hands on. Okay. Because they knew, like, they bought up In Exile, which is our old Interplay people. They bought up Obsidian, who is also our old Interplay people, and so on and so forth, because they knew that, at some point it's about, do you have the Game of Thrones? Do you have, what kind of original programming do you have on your service that is going to get people, right? That is all that matters now. Okay.
So you think that the Xbox and PlayStation are just going to become channels?
Oh, yeah.
Within
They already
the
are.
Stadia marketplace,
Well,
where you just go there and now you have access to that catalog of games they have.
I don't know if it's going to be through Stadia, but they're clearly building their own sort of alternatives to that. I mean, everyone's doing it. Amazon is doing it. Verizon is doing it. Like, all these people are making that technology happen, right? So I love that. I love that because if you think about Stadia from just a technological, you brought up the first streaming service. What
Online was the first one.
Okay,
and it was a great plan. I thought
it was, but tech wasn't there yet.
It wasn't,
right. It wasn't there. But if you take a look at YouTube, for example, I mean, this is scary. I just want you to picture this in your head because I don't think a lot of people connect the dots. Okay, so I'm playing this bomb-ass game, like whatever it is. Let's say it's we're playing a first-person shooter. Say we're playing
just any first-person shooter.
Any first-person shooter. Okay, I hit a button on my controller, right, and now it's broadcasting live.
PlayStation does that now.
I'm not done.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. We're playing Ghost Recon or Overwatch or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Now you see me playing because it's streaming on YouTube right now, right? And I call you and I go, yo, man, you need to get in on this. Now, conventionally, right? That meant you had to go to you had to go to GameSpot, or you had to go to go buy it, download it, get the patch, get the other patch,
and then you gotta wait.
Get the other patch.
Yeah. I just put the disc in. I gotta update.
And all this other kinds of stuff, right? You're on YouTube, right?
Okay, I see where you're going.
Double click, and you plan right away.
Yeah,
right away, Ed.
Yeah.
I'm not. There's. It's already loaded.
No, I got you. I feel this is just like our.
It's already loaded. You had no updates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did have to pay your money to get in.
Yeah.
But you joined from a YouTube link, man.
Yeah.
Like from a YouTube link. Like, just get in.
That's
right.
interesting.
And so the thing about it is, it's like, we talk about how we are separated as people, and I think that people are just community oriented now, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm telling you now that your game has the opportunity to touch anyone who has a YouTube link. Anybody who has a YouTube link now can see your game and play your game on an old dusty computer, as long as it runs.
As long as you can get video
Chrome.
feed, yeah.
As long as you can run Chrome.
Yeah.
You think about that for a second.
That's
I mean,
true.
Why would you even bother? Like, I remember, I have like a PC. I have a PC, and you always worry about upgrading it and upgrading it and upgrading it,
That's
upgrading
true.
it. Nah, man.
I mean, we're
Chrome.
on PlayStation. We're talking about PlayStation 5 coming out.
Yeah,
soon, right?
I got Chrome.
Yeah,
and a
true.
joystick,
Yeah.
holla, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to buy, you don't have to spend crazy money in order to get that. And so for me, like, I looked at Stadia and I said, so what I have to do now, like, say I'm playing Destiny and I got a raid going on, right? Like, how do you do that normally, right? Like, and now you're telling me that all I have to do is have that Chromecast and my joystick and good internet. Player, I don't go anywhere without good internet. It's like, to me, it's like hot water. Like, when I don't have good internet, I'm like, yo, dog, I ain't gonna make it over here. Like, I ain't gonna make it. Right? And so being able to take that gaming experience to a phone, a tablet, a TV, damn it, anywhere with a screen is where YouTube lives.
Mm-hmm. That is like a virus when you think about it. But no, it's definitely a good one.
And who else has that fat pie like Google?
It's
right?
only Twitch right now that has the other outlet for streaming games and seeing stuff.
So for me, when it was almost like my life flashed before my eyes when I saw, like, just Stadia as a concept and said, holy cow, like, this literally changes everything.
It's gonna be weird. I feel because you won't have to drop like $1,200 on like a new console with an extra joystick, at least a game or two to play.
Yep.
It's almost like all that money can just get funneled into Stadia if they are able to capitalize on the market of gamers and people, casual players, whoever, to like buy into their service.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, if you just think about if you think about YouTube as this uniting sort of feature, right, which is the Google backbone, you start thinking about like the games that you can play once you stop thinking about whether or not you have the minimum requirements or they have the minimum requirements, because all that's gone. Right. If you stop thinking about the inconveniences that you have from patching something to uploading, all those different things, like, and then you match that with something like a Google Assistant that could, like take you through things. And I remember the first time, like I the concept of handing a virtual joystick over to someone on a PlayStation was crazy. It's basically like, okay, so let me get this right. I can't get past this part, but we're both connected online, right? Okay, well, you drive, right? So you can do that too, right? Like, gaming is about, a lot of times the advances that we get now, it's not about graphics. Sometimes it's not about sound. It's about how we interact. What are our verbs? Like, and when we get a new verb, things change a lot, right? And so the ability to be everywhere on any screen, accessible to anyone.
It's a big deal.
I don't think people are ready for, because it's not just going to be Google, okay? Everybody's going to have to do this. But at the end of the day, it's what is that content on the other end that makes you say, I'm going to give these people $10 a month, or I'm going to give these people $12 a month. And it's, look, I mean, I don't know how many people canceled like HBO after Game of Thrones left, but that's what we're dealing with now. That's the, I mean, for example,
I don't think that many people did. Chernobyl was the new hotness, even though it was only
really
a
was.
limited.
Please
limited
believe.
supply.
Oh my God, that was scary.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's like
No spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. But yeah, well, I grew up in the '80s, so I know what happened. So for me, like taking a look at what Amazon does, for example, or what Netflix does, that keeps that $9 in your pocket. Like for example, like Disney Plus is going to be crazy, right? I mean, I'm getting it for Star Wars.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm also getting it for all the Marvel goodness too, right? And so that's what I'm saying. Like, in order to survive, in order to be, because that's the only difference between HBO, Showtime,
AMC,
Sony, Microsoft now is the content that is available on their service. This content just so happens to be interactive content, right? So, and that's why, like, to buy an Xbox, for example, for me, was to say I don't care about Uncharted, Gran Turismo,
right?
The Last of Us. I'm not going out like that, right? And so, if they make it easy for me to get that content, and it's just, I'm gonna sub into this at $10 a month, I'm down.
But see, I think that's what's gonna happen. You're not gonna still have those mega hit titles to play.
Why not?
Because I think they're gonna be looking on their back end. It's the same thing with why you don't see those titles on Xbox. You just don't. You don't see The Last of Us on Xbox with them toting a PlayStation 5. You already know that catalog that's going to be coming with them. There may be a new God of War,
maybe
more,
maybe
another. They might even just hold off Last of Us and just wait and just put it out with that. Who knows? But just like the deals they haven't been able to make now, they're not going to make those deals unless there's something they're getting from it. It's the same thing with Steam and Epic. With Steam, a lot of people tried out and are still using the Epic platform for games that they have now, but they don't have a good system on feedback. They don't have a good system on return policy. They don't have a good system. And that's where Steam has all these things down. It's just like, what was it, Origin that came out for EA. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, I can play the Battlefield or whatever that was that came on there. That's the only way you could play it. But how many people still got Origin accounts? Not too many people. Well, so it's the same thing as that. I think the same. We're going to be repeating history and doing the same thing over, because I remember when The Division came out, I thought that was going to break everything for people, because they sold it as you can come in at any time. I need support. You're on your phone now. Drop in air support for me. That never really worked. It didn't work at all.
Well, look, there's going to be some growing pains,
Yeah.
For all of us, right? Now, the cool part, at least for me, is that Sony has their squad, right? Which is
A squad.
No,
I think Sony's the best right now.
Well, what I'm saying is they've got their Naughty Dog team. They got their Gorilla team.
Early
they got their Sony
purchases, too.
Santa Monica team. They got the Bend team. They've got Sony's got their San Diego team doing MLB. They've got a lot of different squads that do work, right? And those are always going to be around for Sony creating original content. That's why Microsoft went off and bought those companies so that they could corner off that talent in those genres. So they're going to do your Gran Turismos. I'm sorry. They're going to do your Fables. They're going to do your Forzas. They're going to do your Halos and your Gears of War, for example, on the Microsoft. That's what you're going to get on the Microsoft channel. There will be channels.
See, that's what I was saying. It has to be channels because them not making it that way, they literally are secluding the people who have bought consoles and don't want to go into this streamed way of playing games and not owning any content.
You're not going to have any choice. I don't think you're going to have any choice.
I think people, as long as people demand wanting to buy a disc or whatever it is, a cartridge, there's always going to be a market for that. But why are they going to be expensive?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Okay. Then. What was the last CD you bought?
Oh, a CD.
Yeah,
you talking about for gaming or are you talking about to listen to music?
To listen to music.
Oh.
Yeah, doesn't that sound stupid?
Man, when was the last time, what was it? Not Hollywood, what was the name of that?
See,
Goody Music or something?
See, you can't even remember. It's like, that's what I call hits or whatever like that. See what
That's a long time ago. But at the same time, I personally haven't downloaded music either in a long time. Yes, because of YouTube, and yes, because of other means of streaming stuff. But that's a different. That's
Why?
Two different things on different tracks and at different times, though.
Let's take it up a notch then. Okay, what's the last DVD you bought?
So I have Apple TV. The last Blu-ray / DVD, because that's how they sell them now, was Interstellar. I bought that because when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I need to buy this because this is awesome. So I think that was the last one I actually went out and purchased.
So how long ago was that? That was like 3-4 years ago, wasn't it?
It was about 3-4 years ago.
Okay, so see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's no...
But you're still talking about music and games. They're on different tracks.
No, I'm talking. See, you're separating them. I'm not.
Yes.
What I'm telling you is content is content. Now,
okay.
You seem to want to separate them because they're not interactive.
The user base is different, and
in what way?
It's different because depending on the title, let's just say like your GTA.
Okay.
GTA 5 came out. And because it was coupled with GTA Online that worked, because they tried to do online with 4, it didn't really work out that well. People are still playing GTA. It's been years since it came out. But, when you buy a disc for music, there may be a few tracks on there that you really love that you're going to listen to. And then ultimately, you're going to find a way to get them off that disc because you don't want to have them on that disc and you only want to hear the 4 you want to hear. It's different. It's totally different.
You think it's different, but it's not. And I give you a perfect example. Okay, so how many Apple TVs do you have?
Just the one.
It
was a gift.
Okay.
So I didn't even buy it.
Yeah, but it's still come on now. Come on.
Blessings.
Okay.
Blessings
What I'm saying is this.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, okay, so I got the second generation, either the second or third generation Apple TV, right?
And I'm talking about the box. I'm not talking about a television. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I got the Apple TV.
Okay.
Then, I have a whole case of I have about 400 or 500 Blu-rays. You see what I'm saying?
Why did you buy so many Blu-rays?
Because the streaming wasn't a thing when I was buying these Blu-rays.
Okay.
And that used to be a thing. I remember going to Best Buy on a Tuesday.
Oh yeah, new content comes out.
New content came out.
Everybody's saving their checks.
And then you just go and that's what I did.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Don't nobody do that now because that's when, as a matter of fact, it's like, man, it's on iTunes. Now iTunes gives me like a heads up when when the movie's out, because I pre-ordered it or whatever. It's right there, right? I don't have to stand in line anymore. I don't have to do any of those things anymore, right? That content is right there for me, right? And and so, especially when you start talking about games in particular, like, like the resale market is just stupid, right? And it just, I think it doesn't allow people to fully realize, like, the what their games are actually doing out in the market. But when there's no physical thing to return, you can keep all that money. You see what I'm saying? And people actually start seeing what games are worth, or what they do. So, and I remember this. Like it was yesterday. Like, me being mad at games in particular, because I go, $60 is not a high price to pay for a dope game, but it's a real high price to pay for a shitty one. Right?
Yeah, you're talking about those 4-hour experiences over like the Zelda 50+ hours.
Well, I'm not even talking about hours. I'm just talking about the experience itself.
Okay, just the
right? Just the overall experience.
Okay.
Like, if I feel like I got robbed because I spent my $60 on some garbage, right? Or maybe a concept that I didn't know anything about, and I said, we've got to, and I remember actually when some games would come out, and this was back in the day when they were like $19 or something like that. And the first thing I'd be like, what's wrong with that game? Like, why is it $20? Right?
It's in the value bin.
What's or it just came out and it's $20, and I'm like, something ain't right. Like, that game's like, and I was like, there's got to be some way that, like, how can we get experimentation back into gaming, right? And that's free to play. Right, premium, premium sort of, experiences and things of that nature, and so that's how gaming has changed.